Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Pretty good. Hi guys, welcome back to Wild Willie's Book Reviews. Today I'm reviewing author Margaret Haddix, and I have some of your books here that I already reviewed on my channel. Greystone Secrets #1, Greystone Secrets #2, and Greystone Secrets #3. These are all amazing books, and I reviewed them on my channel previously, and it's so nice to meet you. Is there anything that you want to say to anybody that's watching this video?
Well, not beyond just that. It's very nice to be interviewed by you. Very nice to meet you. And I appreciated your reviews.
Yeah, so thanks for spending some time. And what really got you interested in writing?
Well, I started getting interested in writing because I loved reading so much when I was a kid. And I think that schools now do a lot better job explaining to kids that there are writers who create books. I think when I was a kid, my view of it was that books just appeared by magic. And pretty much once I figured out that that's not how it works, I decided that's the job that I would like to do.
What do you think your favorite book as a kid was?
Oh, it's hard to pick because I was one of those kids who would read anything and I pretty much loved everything. One of my favorites was from the Mixed Up Files of Mrs. Basil Lee Frankweiler by E.L. Konigsberg. I loved a lot of books by Zilpha Keatley Snyder. I loved The Little Princess by Frances Hodgson Burnett. And since you're Canadian, I feel like I have to do a shout out to L.M. Montgomery, that I did love Anne of Green Gables and some of her other books as well. Emily of New Star was one that I really liked. So lots of different books.
What do you think your favorite part about writing is?
It kind of depends on the day. Sometimes my favorite part is just getting to make stuff up. It's kind of unbelievable to me that I get paid to make stuff up. Sometimes my favorite part is getting to hang out with interesting characters. Sometimes what I love is playing around with words because I think words are fascinating. And sometimes my favorite part is getting to meet lots of interesting people that I've gotten to travel a lot of places to talk about books. And that's been really fun.
So, the Greystone Secrets series is one of my favorite series that I've read so far. So, I just want to shout out to you for writing those. What do
Good.
you think the characters are kind of based on? Like, are they something from your life or just something that you kind of made up?
Yeah, mostly just something that I made up. I will say this was a series that I very much got interested in the characters and the difference between the three siblings and then Natalie too, because she becomes a very important character as well. But uh, Finn, every Finn I'd ever met was kind of a happy-go-lucky, fun, entertaining kid. And so I think I was kind of influenced by some real Finns that I'd met. Emma, I trying to think where she came from, but basically just someone who really cared about having things be logical and to have them make sense. So that was fun. And then I'm personally am probably the most like Chess that I have younger siblings that I was trying to take care of and not in as dire situations as Chess dealt with, but it was fun to imagine that.
So, do you think that you will write any more Greystone Secret series, or do you think that you're just going to leave it there?
I think I'm just going to leave it there. And I'm sorry, I have had people say that they would really like me to do more in the series, but I'm working on other ideas now. I've got other books coming out. And so I feel like, everything has to come to an end eventually. And I always want to do it when people still want more instead of when they're like, okay, wait, that series went on way too long.
What do you think that your favorite book is that you've written personally?
I don't actually have a favorite out of my books, partly because I've written so many. I've written more than 40, and I think it's hard to choose between more than 40 of anything. But it's also difficult because by the time I've written a book, I kind of feel toward that book the same way that I do toward my kids. I mean, not quite as extreme, but I wouldn't want to hurt any of the book's feelings by choosing one of the other books as a favorite.
So when you're writing, do you like have like a certain room that you write in, or do you just write whenever you get a good idea?
Yeah, I kind of have a boring answer to that because I like being able to have my laptop connected to a big monitor so I can see the whole page. And so I have an office in my home where I have, that whole setup. And that's usually where I do my writing. Although sometimes when I'm traveling and I need to work on something then I'm just working on a laptop, just kind of anywhere.
What do you think the biggest kind of like reward to you is as far as seeing all the people that enjoy reading your books?
I would say, I mean, I'm always happy to hear from somebody who's enjoying any of my books. So it's always great to hear from anybody who's enjoyed it. But kind of one of my favorite things to hear now, and this is something that was totally unexpected. One of my favorite things to hear is when people tell me that they didn't like to read before reading one of my books, and then reading one of my books turned them into a reader and made them become somebody who loves books, loves to read. And since that's something that I enjoy so much, I love being able to share it with other people.
Is there any kind of like tips that you have for any writers that kind of like your style or yeah?
I have kind of general tips. I don't know that it's specifically about something related to my style, but I would say that the more you read, the better you become as a writer. And that's, I mean, I would recommend that people do that anyhow, because it's a lot of fun. The more you write, the better you become as a writer. And particularly kids, I like to say, don't feel pressure to write a particular type of thing or a particular genre, a particular style of writing, and kind of play around with it and have fun. I would advise anybody to play around with it and have fun. And then I would also say, and this is something that it sounds like I'm criticizing kids, but I think adults are even worse about this than kids are, that I think that it's important to make time to think. Make sure you have time to think, because the more that you think, the better you are at thinking, the better you are at writing. And especially now that anytime we want, we've got these cell phones with us, that anytime we want, we can, entertain ourselves constantly. We kind of don't take the time to just figure out what's in our own head. So I think it's really important to just make sure you have time to think, and the better you are at thinking, the better you are at writing.
What was your first like writing project? Like, was it a school project or was it just something that you wanted to start writing?
Yeah, I mean, like everybody else, I had school projects that I had to write, but I remember starting to write just for fun when I was in third grade. And that was something, kind of one of the first instances I remember of that happening. I had read a book where the main characters' names were Taffy and Molasses, which I'm not sure how realistic that is, that two girls named Taffy and Molasses would happen to live in the same town and become friends. But anyhow, I really liked that book, and it wasn't a book that had a sequel. It wasn't a series or anything like that. So I finished the book and I was like, oh, I don't get to hang out with them anymore. And then I don't know if somebody else suggested it or I came up with the idea on my own, but it was kind of like, oh, I'll just write stories about Taffy and Molasses. And then it's like, we get to stay friends. And so I did that. And nowadays that would be called writing fan fiction, but I was in third grade so long ago that they hadn't come up with that term yet.
So thank you so much for your time today. And like I said, a huge shout out to you for writing these books, which I still love today, even though I reviewed them like a month ago, but they are still one of my favorite series. But yeah, thanks so much for your time and
I'm so
hope you have
glad
a
to hear
great day.
that. You have a great day. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.